AI quality fails when everyone is responsible and no one owns the gates. Clear roles fix that. This AiQualtest episode gives product, engineering, risk, and quality teams a practical, vendor-neutral playbook for Team Roles Aiqe in 2026. Use a simple operating loop: own, build, review, and assure. That loop keeps conversations concrete when stakeholders disagree about quality or risk. Why this matters: enterprises need product, engineering, QA, data, security, and risk to collaborate without gaps. Role clarity speeds decisions and reduces duplicated work. AiQE is a practice, not a single job title. Enterprises shipping AI into banking, insurance, healthcare, and digital operations cannot rely on hallway demos. Buyers, auditors, and internal second-line risk partners ask for repeatable methods, version artifacts, and clear ownership. If you cannot explain how you tested and what evidence you keep, you do not have AI quality, you have optimism. Core concepts come next. Do not memorize jargon, operationalize each idea into cases, metrics, and gates. Concept 1: Product owner owns intended use, acceptance criteria, and user outcomes. Sets quality priorities. In practice, treat this as a measurable property, define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 2: AiQE/QA lead owns test strategy, harnesses, and gate design. Translates risk into cases. In practice, treat this as a measurable property, define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 3: Engineering owner owns system reliability, adapters, and rollback mechanics. Implements fixes. In practice, treat this as a measurable property, define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 4: Data steward owns eval datasets, labels, and versioning. Guards contamination. In practice, treat this as a measurable property, define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 5: Risk and compliance owns residual risk acceptance and policy alignment. Challenges weak evidence. In practice, treat this as a measurable property, define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 6: On-call/SRE owns monitoring, incidents, and runbooks. Connects production to learning. In practice, treat this as a measurable property, define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Here is a real-world pattern. Setting: midsize bank forming an AiQE practice across multiple LLM products. Initially, engineers ran ad hoc evals and risk joined only at the end. Defining role cards and a RACI for gates cut release thrash. Data stewards stopped silent gold edits. Incident learning finally had a named on-call path into the eval backlog. Notice the pattern: define scope, run controlled tests, capture evidence, decide with named owners, and feed failures back into the next cycle. That is how AI quality becomes a system property, not a slide. Common mistakes slow mature programs. Mistake 1: Assigning AI quality to an unfunded side duty. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 2: Excluding risk until the week of launch. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 3: Leaving datasets without a steward. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 4: Having gates with no empowered owner to fail a release. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. The antidote is discipline, small goal sets, explicit thresholds, change control, and monitoring that connects production incidents back to evaluation suites. Key takeaways for your team. Takeaway 1: Name owners for product, AiQE, data, risk, and ops. Takeaway 2: Use RACI for release gates. Takeaway 3: Fund AiQE as a practice, not heroics. Takeaway 4: Connect on-call learning to eval backlogs. Write these into your team wiki and release checklist so they survive staffing changes. Your next steps this week: Publish a one-page RACI for AI release gates in your org. Then, assign a named data steward for your primary goal set. Keep the artifacts, prompts, datasets, scores, approvals so you can defend the decision later. Where this fits the AiQualtest method, learn the foundations with AiVELabs, practice with hands-on cases, and validate with governed evaluation evidence. Visit aiqualtest.com and learn.aiqualtest.com. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for weekly AI quality, evaluation, and governance episodes. Additional depth for practitioners. Treat Team Roles Aiqe as a controlled experiment. Version the inputs, freeze the environment where possible, record who approved exceptions, and rerun after every material change, model upgrade, prompt edit, retrieval index refresh, or tool permission change. Pair quality metrics with latency, cost, and safety signals so trade-offs are visible to product owners. When results regress, open an incident-style review even if the feature still looks fine in a demo. Governed teams prefer boring, evidence-backed releases over surprising wins that cannot be reproduced.